All right, welcome to this video. My name is Taylor Bentrud, and we're going to talk about the 3 agency hiring tactics that we use. It's actually going to be 6. I just forgot to change the title. But anyways, I won't cut this out. I don't care. So number 1, hiring is probably the most important thing you can do once you've got a proven method and you're doing, 5, 10, 15K per month. Not a proven method, but a proven service. Once you've got that proven service, it really just becomes a game of attracting talent and developing a really good culture. So the first thing that I want to say why this is super important is because if you have a team and you feel like there's some people that could be way better, you're probably right. If that person in your team that you think could be way better isn't like constantly surprising you with like just ridiculous amounts of value that they're bringing to the company, then they're probably a B or a C, and they're nowhere near an A+ person. But this video is designed to help you hire A+ people that are basically, they're all-stars. They're going to be constantly surprising you with new ways that they can bring value to the company. And it's the type of person where you're like, oh my God, this person's so amazing. I don't know what I did without them. So first of all, let's talk about TORC. TORC is a method or a principle that came out of a book called Top Grading. It's a great book if you want to hire and develop really good people. I recommend it. Basically, TORC stands for Threat of Reference Check. Now, Threat of Reference Check is essentially when someone goes to apply for your agency on the application page, which we also have this. If you want to see ours, you can go to betterams.com/hiring. And you'll be able to see our hiring page. And at the very bottom, right before the submit your application button, there is text that says, hey, we need you to know that the final process in our interview for you to get hired is basically we do a reference check where we request meetings with people that we want to meet with. And so this is legendary because it's proven, literally through lots of tests, that A+ performers, all-stars, this person right here that you want to attract into your agency, this all-star, high performer, A+ person, loves reference checks, okay? A high performer has been a high performer throughout throughout a period of time, throughout multiple jobs or careers that they've had. And so they're not afraid of reference checks because they know that they have multiple supervisors from multiple positions at different companies, or just one supervisor from one company they've been with for a long period of time that would vouch for them and tell anyone that they are amazing. And so all-stars love reference checks, okay? C's and B's, they hate them. C's and B's don't like reference checks because a reference check means that they need someone to verify and back up their achievements and things that they've put on their resume. Resumes are just a piece of paper. They don't really mean a whole lot. You need to always do reference checks to verify what is on the resume, and not just like letting the person randomly give you any type of person for a reference, because ideally what you want is a previous supervisor from the person's past company that they were with. Now, again, I recommend you do this immediately. You put it on your hiring page, and you constantly remind the applicant throughout the process that, hey, we liked your application. Let's do an interview, but we want you to know and remind you that a final step in the hiring process for us is to do a reference check. Okay, this will scare away a lot of the B's and C's. Very simple and straightforward. Number 2 is culture fit. Does this person align perfectly with your culture? So culture, it's not just a piece of paper, but the main thing you want to have in culture is a vision, a mission, core values. Some people call these principles. These are the 3 kind of things that you want to clearly define for your company so that everyone kind of has this Polaris star that they can look up to. Now, defining your culture, that's probably for another video. I won't talk too much on that. But really, you want to make sure that this person aligns with the values that your team holds dearly, the mission that you guys are after achieving, and the vision that you guys all hold for the company, okay? There needs to be a culture fit. We just hired 2 people. The account executive that we hired, I probably spent 15, 20 minutes talking about that plaque that I just showed you. I literally went through, we went through every single one by one. We talked about the vision, we talked about the mission, we talked about every single core value. And I kept asking the person, hey, look, is there anything you disagree with in this thing right here? Is there anything you look at and you say, I disagree with that? And I'm very serious about this because I want to know if this person is a culture fit. So it's important to clearly define your core values, the mission, the vision. That's another video, but really culture fit's important because if this person is not a culture fit, first of all, they could be an A+ high performer, okay? They could bring a ton of value to the company. They're really smart. But if they don't fit the culture and they don't get along with the people and they don't share the same vision or mission that your current team has, they are going to cause problems and they're going to cause other people to not like their work, and basically it's going to be like a domino effect where this one bad egg enters the nest and then everything else becomes rotten and it all falls apart. So you really, really, really have to vet people heavily on your culture, because otherwise your high performers in your company may leave just because you let someone else in who is a high performer, but they're not a culture fit. Okay, these two things are quite different. So number 3 is LAX Overnighter. Google talks about one of the principles that they have. I forget the book. I think if it's Work Rules by Laszlo Block. It's again another phenomenal book that talks about hiring. But Google's principles are pretty cool. They talk about LAX is the Los Angeles airport. And they said basically, hey, if you're stuck in the LAX airport for an overnighter with this person that you're considering hiring, would you be engaged all night in conversation with that person? You know, having an interesting, amazing conversation? Or would you prefer to just read a book or check your email or watch YouTube videos or what? If you wouldn't be engaged in an extremely interesting conversation with this person all night, or until 4 a.m. until both of you are like ready to pass out, you probably shouldn't hire them. Okay, that's a good kind of litmus test as well that you can use and that Google uses. Number 4, what's the salary? This is a great question. If someone asks this question before we even get to the offer stage, by the way, the offer stage of hiring is when we say, hey, we really like you, here's an offer. Okay. If someone says, what's the salary, before the offer stage, it's an immediate disqualification. We will immediately reject anyone who asks this question is immediately rejected. There's a lot of people that when we posted about hiring an account executive a few weeks ago who reached out and said, hey, I'm interested in this role. What's the salary? I won't even respond. Why? Because our culture, we do not want people that are just wanting a job for the money. That's not what we hold truly to ourselves. That's not what our core values are. So anyone who is primarily focused on salary gets immediately disqualified. I don't want you in our company, and I don't want you anywhere near anybody in our team. So this is not important for some people, but again, everybody's culture is different. For us, I strongly believe that anyone who comes to you and asks what's the salary should be disqualified if that's their first question when they apply, or if that's their second thing they mention in the hiring interview. Again, I do not like that, and so I really avoid that, anyone who asks for that. All of the high performer people that we have hired never asked about the salary until the offer came. So when the offer came and we said, hey, we're going to pay you $72,000 per year with X amount of commission, and if they have a counter offer and they say, hey, I think I'm worth 76 or 80 or whatever, that's fine, okay? But I'm talking about when they submit their application, if they have a question like what's the salary, or if during the interview, they ask you, hey, what's the salary for this position? I do not like that. I think that what's most important to the position is everything else, and the last and final piece is the salary. Yes, it's important, but it shouldn't be mentioned because it tells me that the person's core focus is money, which we don't want. Number 5, can they raise the bar? Okay, so this is a really great question that you got to ask yourself. Okay, there is a bar, and the bar is the performance for the current role. So if you've hired multiple account executives, you generally know what a high performer is, what a adequate performer is and what a low performer is, okay? And it's good to define these three things: a high performer, an adequate performer, and a low performer for the role, okay? So in our company, for an account executive, a high performer can manage over $400,000 per year, meaning they can bring in $400,000 revenue into the agency as an account executive. A high performer retains over 80% of their clients for the year, and a high performer can sign and bring in independently over 6 clients, I believe, or maybe 8 clients to the company that year. So a high performer does those three things. They manage greater than, or they bring in greater than $400,000 per year, they retain 80% of their clients for the year, and they sign over 6 or 8 clients for the year. I forget what it is exactly. So that's the bar that we have set internally for the account executive role. Now that bar is set based on current performance, based on past performance. So it can be raised, okay? And so the question that you got to ask yourself is, this person that I'm considering hiring, can they raise the bar? You know, our bar is here, and do we think that this person can raise the bar? It's a really great question, because honestly, like, it's depending on how many people you've hired and how much time you have with that role, the bar may already be pretty high, but someone can always break the bar. Okay, and so it's a great question to ask, because it really makes you think, you know, is this person a high performer, and do they have the skills and the determination and the confidence to be able to raise the bar? Amazon, Jeff Bezos, if you read 10 Leadership Principles by Amazon, it's more or less, it's a really small book, but it's a great book. And Jeff Bezos talks about how, you know, when the company got too large for him to be able to approve the hiring of people, because for the first, I think it was the first 100 or 200 hires, Jeff Bezos A-okayed everybody that came in, meaning he approved of it or did not approve of every single person for the first 200 hires. Google did something similar, but there becomes a point where the company is scaling so fast that, like, you know, the founder can no longer vet people and approve them or disapprove them. So Jeff set a standard, which is every single person we hire has to be able to raise the bar, okay? And so this is more or less where that principle came from. The last one is the marriage test, which kind of goes in play with number 3. Do you want to spend the rest of your life with this person? It's a great question. At the end of the day, you know, anybody that you bring into your company, it should be someone that you would want to spend the rest of your life with. You should really enjoy spending time with this person. You should, you know, be honored to work with this person. It should not just be, hey, you know, here's your salary and you better fucking perform and work because we're paying you this amount of money. That's terrible, right? What it should be is, hey, I am really honored to work with you. I'm really pumped to see how you develop in this company. And, you know, I'm just really excited to work with you. That's more or less the vibe that you should get when you're hiring someone. And you should imagine that you're going to be working with this person for the rest of your life, okay? This question also ties into, I forget the exact word that I'm looking for right now, but the long term, right? You don't want to just hire someone that is going to be with you for a year or 2 years or 3 years. You want to hire someone that is going to be with you for the next decade, okay? Because again, something that kills a lot of companies, especially agencies, is churn of employees. And when people don't stay for a long period of time, especially high performers, because high performers are going to leave at some point, whether it's 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, you need to really ask this question, because it also asks you, hey, would this person stay with my company for the next 10 years? Is that a possibility? And so that's something we look for as well when we're looking at the person's resume and their previous career history. You know, if they're just skipping from job to job to job to job, like they spent 1 year at this place, 6 months at that place, 8 months at that place, 1 year at that place, I'm not going to even consider the person, because, you know, they don't have any stable relationships with anyone, right? So that's a red flag for me, and it tells me that, you know, if they haven't stayed with anyone for more than 2 years, why would they stay with us for more than 2 years, right? You got to look at past performance, because it gives you a glimpse into what the future is going to look like. Ray Dalio, in the book Principles, Ray Dalio is the founder of Bridgewater Associates. Amazing company, amazing book. I highly recommend you read it. He talks about how people generally don't change, okay? Unless in their past they have past history of them changing drastically, then there's potential for them to change and develop into something greater. But in general, if people haven't really made any drastic changes in their personal life or their in their business life or their personal performance in general, they're likely not going to change in the future. And so I stay away from people who've been job hopping, for the last 5-6 years and don't have a stable job. I love it when someone has spent 6 years with one company or 10 years with one company and they have climbed their way up in that company. And if we can literally attract someone like that and pull them out of that company and into our company, that means we're doing something right. That means that we're doing something right with our company, because no one just leaves a stable income that they've had for 10 years, especially if they have a family or a house or kids, because, for more money or whatever. Like they do that because they're attracted to your culture, they're attracted to your team. This person is likely a person of personal development and they want to grow personally, and maybe their current role isn't pushing them anymore. And so they want something different, and they're even willing to take a slight pay cut to get to that next level for themselves personally, because where they're currently at, it's just not serving them anymore like it used to. And that's why high performers usually leave, is because they're no longer engaged, and now they want to get to the next level. A high performer, they hate monotony, they hate doing the same thing over and over. They want to get to the next level, they want to grow, they want to develop, and to grow and to develop, you got to push beyond what you currently know, and that's just a process of trial and error. So you really got to let these people fly, and you got to let them do their own thing. Otherwise, you're going to be holding them back, and they're not going to like that, and they're going to leave. So that was a bit of a rant. But with that being said, these are 6 super important tactics or principles or strategies, whatever you want to call them. I think about all of these when we're hiring people. We just hired 2 people just now. I am super, super excited. That's why this video is about hiring. And with that being said, let me know if you have any questions. Drop them in the question box below. Also, I'll show you the new office. It's super, super, super messy, but this is more or less where we're at. Let me see if you can see that. That is Panama City. If you've ever been to Panama City, and right now all the books are on the floor, you can see we got boxes around here. So anyways, thanks for watching this video. I appreciate you checking it out. Hit that subscribe button below, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Ciao.